Hello and welcome to everybody listening. This is Balancing the Act, a podcast that focuses on how you manage your job and make sure you travel. In this podcast, you will hear stories from people who were willing to take a leap of faith and believe in their ideas. Each podcast will leave you educated and leave you with a unique life lesson.
Welcome to Balancing the Act. If you want to learn how to get featured in a travel magazine, I've got you covered. The guest on today's show is Rishabh Tripathy, who is a featured travel photographer. If you are from Odisha, this guy is your neighbor.
First of all, I'm Rishabh Tripathy. I'm from Odisha, but currently I'm working in Trivandrum of Kerala. And I'm working there in a software-based firm, but during weekends I love to travel a lot and I love to take different types of photos, especially landscapes. So that gives me a huge motivation to get through the work of the office also. So during the weekend, I can explore new places.
Given that you're a featured photographer, can you take us through the journey of how it all started and how have you managed to feature in publications like Tripoto Community and the Outlook Traveler?
Yeah, basically initially it started as a small project for me. Like I used to take some photos and post it, and sometimes I used to get featured in small sites. But at that time, it was a great deal for me. So after that, I just focused on increasing the quality of the photos, and I upped the tempo to one photo every day. So after some time, I started getting the recognition from top sites and magazines. Hard work, they started featuring my photos. So after that, once we get a photo featured.
So basically it started with you putting out more content and tagging those people, and that's how you got wrong.
Yeah, and also increasing the quality of the content.
So in terms of quality, when we're talking about a photo quality, what do you mean by quality of photo?
Basically, it means minimal amounts of editing. Like the lowest amount of editing is like the more natural we can make it feel to the audience, and also the framing and the composition of the photo, how it looks, the perspective of it. That is what matters.
Okay, is this your passion? Do you call this like your passion project or your product? What is it like when you take up these journeys in remote villages or wherever you plan to take them? What is your thought behind doing the run to the forest or run to the mountains? How is it like? Can you give us some light?
For now, if we look at it, it is like a passion for me because, as I said, I'm working as a software developer right now. But in the future, if I get any scope of converting my passion into my profession, I would really love it. But for now, it is my passion and it is one of the top priorities that I have for my future. But only time can tell what will happen of it. But as of now, I don't have any plans of stopping it. I'm still continuing it, be it whatever field I am in. And this will always be a consistent part of my life right now. And regarding your second question, the motivation that I get from going to different places is that I want to see something new every time and also be able to show it to my audience. Like the vision that I have, that I want to convey to the audience.
Correct. So travel photography in its sense is a very large and wide spectrum of things. Can you share some simple tips for someone who's just starting out, maybe his phone and not a professional camera like you? Some tips that everybody could use as a photographer.
One of the best advice that I can give to budding landscape photographers is to try to avoid the more touristy areas as much as possible and just go out and explore the unexplored. And that will put them into new light. So they will grab the attention of others because they will be projecting something others haven't seen yet.
So can you tell me more about how long have you been doing this and how it currently started? How did this whole affair of you going into the jungle, clicking photos, how did this all begin?
First of all, from the beginning, I always loved traveling and exploring new places. But as I kept on traveling, I got suggestions that as you're traveling so much, why don't you try out photography as well? Initially, I was not interested in it, but once I got hold of my friend's camera, so while trying it out, I saw that it was quite interesting. So I thought, why not give it a try? Once I started with the photography, it worked out well for me. So I haven't stopped.
Can you tell us how a basic person can start? What is a good basic camera that one can buy to start off with, and then what you're currently using?
I have upgraded my camera to a Nikon D7500. But previously I had started with a Nikon D3400, which is at that time it was like the entry model camera. I think some newer models have come out now as well, 3500 or something that has come out now. I think for a beginner that will be the perfect one, because what matters in photography is more inclined towards the lens that we're using rather than the body. Because yeah, the body is definitely responsible for the quality, but it is a bit more inclined towards the lens that we're using, the quality of the lens. So I think they should, if they're beginning, they invest with the beginner body, and they can invest a bit more with the lenses as they proceed and play around with it.
What is your favorite lens that you currently use?
My favorite lens is the 10 to 20 ultra wide angle, because it really helps me catch the entire scenery as it covers a large portion of the area.
Okay, and does it like cost a bomb, or is it cheap? Someone can afford it at a beginner's level?
Yeah, actually, in that case also, in lenses case also, there is a difference of prices. Like there are beginner level lenses and there are professional level lenses which are having a very good aperture value. But my lens was also a beginner level one, which I got for 20,000, but it can increase till 90,000. Depends on the budget and what field we are looking to get into. So according to that, we can buy.
Tell me more about how your travel adventure started. Do you travel solo? Do you travel with friends? What is that experience like?
I love traveling solo because one of the main things that I get from that is the independence and the freedom that comes with solo travel. And we are not dependent on anyone, and we can do whatever we want. So that is the main point that like I focus while traveling solo. One of the main motivation behind it. But sometimes I travel with friends also. That is a whole different experience. And so traveling solo is also a different experience, which I recommend to everyone that they should try at least once.
So you think traveling solo does enrich your soul, and has it changed you as a person? Like, what was your first trip like?
Yeah, definitely it has changed me as a person, because till I completed my engineering, I was staying at my parents' house. So during that time, I could not do anything. I was dependent on everyone. But once I went outside for a job, I started traveling solo. And after that, I have learned everything now. So I can say I have become really independent.
If someone's from Odisha and they're listening, can you tell them some places which is close to their house, still stay at home and make their first adventure?
Yeah, sure. Like there are many places, many tourist places in Odisha that we can visit. Like there are many tourist places like Puri, then you have the Kapilash Temple, Konark Beach, Konark Temple, and Konark Beach. But I would say, like, first of all, if we're starting, we should go to those places, get a scope of the travel and the place, how it is, how does it feel. After that, slowly we can move on to lesser known places. But initially, they should stick to the places that they already know.
Okay, so basically it's like a transition from an easy place to a place where you are not comfortable or you're in uncharted waters. So can you tell us about some of these trips? Like now that we've understood that you have gone around the place and visited places which are, first touristy in their nature, and then you go to places where people don't really like to go. You could tell our listeners about in terms of how different it was, or something that you should be careful in your trip about.
Yeah, like the places which are more touristy will always be overcrowded, and the only one of the mishaps that can happen there is pickpocketing. So that is a major point that they have to look out for if they're traveling to overcrowded places. And once they are going to lesser known places, there they can have their own freedom, but they should be careful always.
We talk about mishaps happening in a remote village or a remote forest. What are the things that you think could happen?
Actually, I haven't faced any such mishaps till now. Okay. So I might not be as well qualified to answer that question, but in case they're facing any problems in remote areas, like they should be familiar with the local language so that they can at least ask for help to the local people.
So language, you think, is a key factor in traveling to remote areas where maybe you could know the language, and say suppose you don't know it, what are the means of communicating then? Has it happened like you've gone to a place where they don't understand English, they don't understand Hindi? What have you done then? How is communication taking place over there?
Now, when faced with such situations, I generally depend on Google Translate, or else I make a call to one of my friends who can act as a translator for me. But if both of these scenarios doesn't work, we have to resort to sign language.
So sign language always wins, yeah?
Yeah, at the end it always wins.
Now that we've understood how you've been going traveling, how you've already, established yourself as a travel photographer and been featured, how do you progress to the next level of becoming a full-time travel photographer?
The thing that depends on being a full-time travel photographer, it requires a lot of investment. As we are traveling to different places, we'll be spending money there, and we have to upgrade our gear also. Like suppose we are traveling to some snowy places, then our regular gear might not work there, so we have to upgrade that. So that is what it requires, a bit of investment.
Equipment plays a large role, but how important do you see planning your trip, and how do you plan your trips? Is there any way or special methods of planning a trip for a photographer?
Yeah, the only planning that I do during a trip is that I reach the place during sunrise or sunset, because that is what matters the most to a photographer. Nothing else matters.
Okay, so basically your travel plans are according to the time sets or the golden light timings. Can you help me with your Instagram handle so people can actually view the great photographs you've already taken? I mean to not compliment you in saying that you are one of the best that I have seen at least. But it's really a pleasure to talk to you and understand from you have gotten out of your shell and made it enough to go solo trips and make the most of even your alone time with such great photographs. So please help me with your Instagram handle. And if anybody wants to ask you for any tips and stuff, where can he reach you?
First of all, a big thank you to you, Kevin, for the showcase. And coming to my Instagram handle, they can simply search Rishabh Tripathy, or else my user ID is _R1SHAB_. So that is my Instagram handle, where I post all my regular updates of photos and stuff. And coming to the advice that I would like to give to people who are coming into the line of landscape photographers or budding photographers, like first of all, they have to take care of the timing, the golden hour, like you said. And the second and the most important thing is, whatever happens, they have to always be careful when they're traveling outside, because they have to step out of the comfort zone for it. So safety must be priority one always.
Okay, so I think all the budding photographers there, if you want to reach out to Rishabh, you know where you to find him. And also stay safe, and more importantly, stay home right now.
Let me know if you found this episode insightful. I think we got a few tips, some light on how to click pictures the right way, why travel changes you as a person and makes you discover the real you. I hope you liked it. Stay tuned. I've got some stories to share.
This podcast is brought to you by Backpacker Me, Instagram handle @BackpackerMe. Follow, share.